So I've got, I think, 3 ideas of how you would go about planning for anything. And so what I think I'm going to say is good for everyone, whether they're male or female, whether it's ministry to women or ministry to the whole church or whatever it is. So
great. So husbands who are now looking over the shoulder now
yeah,
realise something
you could
for
learn
everyone.
from this. So my thoughts of how you go about it. The first thing is, it sounds funny, is plan it. Sit down and plan what you want to do. The big thing is have a clear purpose. Be really clear about what you want this to achieve. And when you see the purpose, you can actually be more sure of where on the disciple-making trajectory this ministry is going to fit. Be very clear about its purpose, and that may actually help you know whether you even should be doing this ministry. The second thing is then all the details. How, when, where. Just make sure you might have a couple of people to help pepper you with questions to bring all the thinking out. Be really clear on the details. That again will either give you a bit of a green light or say, no, this is impossible to do. Because resources and cost and all of that kind of stuff needs to come into play as you look at what's going to be needed to make this work. So all the details. And then I think the third thing with planning is, have you got a long-term sustainability plan for this? So you've got a lot of energy now maybe for this thing, but long-term, could you see yourself still doing this long-term? So I think that's important before you even start, to have a sense of, will I be keeping this going?
So it's not just enough to get it going.
Yeah.
You've got to work out how it's going to keep going.
Yeah, and what's going to keep driving it? And then you work out, and can you make that happen? So the plan. The second thing then is, say it's a green light, is now the answer to this is different if you're a pioneer church or if you're a branch church, but I'm going to say do it yourself. You start with you doing it. Now that's more true if you're a pioneer plant. The reason being is at this stage when you're in an early stage of church life and you've got a new ministry, you're the one that knows what you're trying to do. You know the culture that you're trying to set up. And it doesn't matter how many times you try and tell someone, unless they're on exactly the same page as you, it is unlikely that they're going to get it just from your description. So you have to do it, and do it, I think, for a long time until you're really sure people get what you're on about. So you're establishing the culture. It takes time. Don't rush it. It takes lots of energy. You've got to be up for it. Bit different if you're in a branch church or you've got a giant launch team with you that are very definitely on the same page, and they're, I'd bring people in from the word go to do it with you.
Is that because the culture is already established?
If the culture is established and you're sure, yeah. So establishing culture is one of those intangible things that's so important to do. If you start something and someone is very closely aligned to you but just a little bit off, look where that goes over time if they keep on that trajectory. And that's just a helpful picture to go. At first you may think it doesn't matter. In a few months' time it's going to actually matter a lot. So do it yourself to start with. And then the third thing is work out how to invite others to join you. And so in that thinking you've got to think, now who's the right fit? And I think you've got to work out then, what kind of person do you need? So my top 3 things for whatever ministry is reliable. I'm getting that from 2 Timothy. I love that. Entrust to men, passing on the baton. Reliable is the high quality. So I think that's true for all ministries, that they're reliable. Teachable. There's a sense in which they're not thinking they've got all the answers. They're teachable and they're growing. They're sitting under the word, they're submissive to God, they're obedient to him, so they're growing. Those qualities, for me, that would be a great person. So find that person or make that person and then invite them to join you, but think to yourself, how do I sustain them in this ministry? What support structures do they need to keep going and to keep equipping them and keep the standard of the ministry going up? So you've got to think through all that. How will you sustain them and keep the standard? And then how will you have a multiplying structure to this so that you have in your mind how you're going to raise more leaders? That's if it's a ministry like a Bible study group ministry that you know will keep growing. Some ministries may not need multiplying of leaders, because once you've got your 3, that's all you need. So different for different ministries. So if it's one, how am I going to keep multiplying? What's my process for raising new leaders and keeping them popping up to the surface? Or what's my succession structure? Like, do I want to be doing this forever? How am I going to think about the next person and how will I bring them to take over my role? So there you go. That's what I think is the plan for any ministry. Make a plan, do it yourself, and then invite others to join you, is it basically.